It's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mosette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, I am Moses, and welcome to episode 716, the bye-week edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, as the Seattle Seahawks get ready to take on the bye week. So please put your tray table up and place your seats back in the full upright position. Settle in with the desired center beverage of your choice, and hey, what can I tell you? I can think of a lot of worse ways to go into a bye week than beating the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco and ending their undefeated season. So, it's going to be a fun 2 weeks. Let's meet the posse for this episode. First, the yin to my yang. It is Matt from merry old England. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
I'm fantastic, sir. How are you?
Well, I've had a fun-packed day, actually.
A fun-packed day. Yes, do tell.
Yes, well, I've been trying to see if I can beat myself in my face with my own helmet.
Little Owen Schmidt going, are you?
Yeah, and it hasn't worked well.
Oh.
But it's still been fun trying.
Yeah, Owen Schmidt, the old runaway beer truck, will have to give lessons, won't he?
But the worst thing is I've now sent myself a letter finding myself $500,000 and putting myself out of practice for 6 weeks.
And
Nice.
now you can never play again.
I found
Never.
a picture with
Not that he
me
could
and Owen
before.
Schmidt and one of my kids the other day, actually.
You did.
I did, yeah. I'll put it in the chat group. You can throw it in here
That's
if you
awesome.
want. It's kind of on the show if you want. It's kind of crazy that
and
we're
I
randomly
will.
mentioning that dude.
And mentioning that is our friend Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Mostly,
How's Kona and our 12-man fan jam show mascot Kona?
Quiet, so that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Not barking. She seems to be doing well.
Content. I think like many of us.
Yeah.
She's content. And speaking of content, it's Will, our snooze hound. Will, how are you, Will?
Oh, hi, Moses. It's been kind of a rough day, actually.
Do tell.
Well, you know, I was at the grocery store, and I accidentally cut in line in front of Myles Garrett, and he hit me over the head with his shopping cart. It was bad.
We have a winner. Will, you had kind of a rough morning, too, didn't you?
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, I saw that little rough with the coffee maker, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, that was fun, but that's why I was at the store. I had to buy more coffee.
Yeah, kind of made the coffee without putting the cup down. Is that what happened?
Yep, I've got one of the single serve deals, so my counter got my single serve.
Well, I think
Oh,
if you're not going to use a cup, you have to treat it like a Slurpee machine. You just open the handle and get right under there.
Get a straw and just take it in, man.
Yeah, but it's easy to do
Pauly
that if
Shore
you're
style.
Dustin's height.
That would hurt.
No! Nice, Matt. Well played. Someone that's not addicted to caffeine, I'm sure, and that is Statsman Mark. Hi, Statsman Mark.
Oh, I'm always caffeinated.
How are you doing in the behind enemy lines after Monday night?
I have been remarkably humble given our win. And even told a few Niner fans, don't worry, Garoppolo will be okay.
Yeah, he will. That was pretty awesome. Well, we're going to talk about that second quarter. And speaking of, the different quarters, we do have a great bye week show ahead of you because, of course, it is time for the Seahawks bye week. And you know what that means? More in sync than you can stand tonight, baby.
That wouldn't take much.
Oh, shame on you. Bye-bye, baby. Hey, listen, if the receivers can dance to this, then we can listen to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, it is the bye week.
You know Will's going to be listening to the Christmas album after the show.
Oh, you know he will be. All right.
No.
So let's see how this show is going to be run. Sweet? Ah, yes, the show's run just like a real NFL football game. 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter one, will catch us up on the news. I don't know what he could possibly have to talk about. In quarter two, we're going to talk about last week's Monday Night Football game against the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what we could possibly have to say about that game. Halftime is the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. I refer to, of course, 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
Of the world.
of the world. Dustin is on a roll, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're rolling. You're rolling,
With a
buddy.
hot dog roll, really.
Yeah.
Rolling,
I
buddy.
see him rolling. I hating.
Are you riding dirty? All right.
Yeah, I was thinking Limp Bizkit with that.
Well, come on, join the 21st century. The second half, we're going to we talk about the game coming up, but there isn't because there's a bye week. We're not going to play music again. But quarter 3, we're going to talk about Seahawk disappointments, maybe players that we feel at this point of the bye week, the season has just not been their year. And then quarter 4, we're going to talk about Seahawks surprises, players that we didn't expect at the beginning of the year that are really contributing more than we thought they would. So before we do all that, we want to remind you, we would love it if you like, shared, subscribe to the Seahawks Positivity YouTube channel, our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. I put up a making of the video so you can see how all this wonderful stuff comes to you on Facebook. Also on Twitter at Seahawks Positivity, email 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. Look for this downloadable podcast of this very show on iTunes and Podbean. Usually go to news. I have 2 things I want to share first before we get to the news. Well, I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you finish. But before you do,
Whatever, Kanye.
I have a couple things I want to bring up. Mike Seahawk on Twitter. I hope he listens, and if he doesn't, and you know Mike Seahawk 78 at Twitter, please tell him that we did talk about him in a very, very, very admirable way. Mike Seahawk found out. So I found out my daughter's not allergic to cats, so he got a cat. So his bud got her a kitten, which is great. That's the best part of this is getting a kitten. But really, the best part is the name, ladies and gentlemen. He named his cat DK Metcalf.
Nice.
That is
I like
the
it.
best name ever.
Does
I
it have
don't
a
care.
6-pack? Does it have like a massive 8-pack? Is it like
Does the cat have a binky?
We should get a binky for the cat. If you're listening, please get a binky for your cat. But I just wanted to kind of publicly salute him because that is the best name ever, DK Metcalf. And the second issue before we do the news real quick is Tom Lucas, who's on Team 12 with the Posse Challenge and is on our Facebook page a lot, wrote on our page today. It's Blue Friday, which is when we record, and we just played the 49ers. We beat the 49ers, and he's got a Sherman jersey. He wanted to know if he should wear it, and I told him that I would ask the Posse for a quick vote of that question. Dustin, Sherman jersey today on Blue Friday?
Well, I'm gonna go with no, and
Okay.
I've been asked this myself. If I'm ever gonna break mine out going into the game or whatever, and my answer is I'll wear it again, but not until it's retro and cool. After the guy's retired, I'll be proud to wear it. Right now, I'm not rocking that jersey while he's with the Niners.
All right, Dustin's a no. Matt?
Well, as the fashion guru of the Trump
Yes.
Fan Jam Show, I can tell you that it is perfectly in order to wear a Sherman jersey, just as long as you don't leave the house with it on.
Okay, fair enough. Will?
I'm like Dustin. My Sherman and Thomas jerseys are in the back of the closet waiting for them to retire before they get brought out again. But, Tom, if you want to wear it, go ahead and wear it.
But one thing, though, what about the Hushmanzada jersey?
The green jersey, yes.
I only break that out on St. Patrick's Day.
Obviously.
Statsman Mark, your vote?
Or if he needs reflective clothing when he's walking at night.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Zordy?
Well, I get the logic for sure that since he's an active player, why you wouldn't wear it, but I think it's fine. I don't know. Sherman, I'm happy he's healthy. I think it's great that he's playing for the Niners, actually. I love the rivalry.
Yeah.
So
well,
I don't think
okay.
it's
2
too
and
big
2
of a
then?
deal.
It adds
So I
something
get
to
to
it.
break it. So here's what I'm going to say, and here's why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Especially this week, there couldn't be a better time to wear a Seahawks Sherman jersey because we freaking own them Monday night. So, this is saying, hey, Sherman, buddy, you still a Seahawk because we still own you after last week. So I would say yes, especially after beating the 49ers to show the fact that Sherman is still owned by the Seahawks. But that's my vote. So, Tom, by the time you get this, Blue Friday will be over. But, I hope you wore it. And if you didn't, that's okay, too. And now it's time to go to Will, Shadowhawk Will, and the 12-Man Fan Jam Show News Report. All right, news from around the NFL brought to you by our news hound, Shadowhawk Will himself. This week's sponsor, the Jason Myers Crow Restaurant. That's right. Crow is on the house at the Jason Myers Restaurant. Everybody step up and eat your crow if you deserve it. Served by Jason Myers. Will, what you got for us?
Just really quick for the record, when 3 of us voted in favor of Myers last week, I signed off and couldn't help but think, We're either going to look incredibly smart or incredibly stupid.
And how do we look?
Kind of glad it was the former.
Me too. Just gotta
Anyway,
believe, man.
Speaking of looking incredibly smart or incredibly stupid, San Diego Chargers coach, I'm not calling them LA, Anthony Lynn might be smart or might be stupid, depending on how this turns out. He and his team are playing the Kansas City Chiefs next week in Mexico City, which is fairly high. The elevation in Mexico City, it's farther up than Denver. So his team is training in Colorado this week to try to get used to the thin air, the atmosphere, everything. His players aren't liking that much. Running back Austin Eckler said a number of players would have preferred to stay in California rather than working out at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs.
Weird.
Wide receiver Keenan Allen said, quote, "I hate everything about this" on Twitter. Defensive end Joey Bosa says, "You notice a difference out here a little bit with breathing. I don't know if a few practices is enough to get acclimated to it, but we're here. We'll make the most of it. I don't really want to talk about this because I don't want to say anything stupid."
Wow.
Wow.
So if there's an "I'm in" sign for the Chargers, none of them are tapping it this week.
Yeah, it's like upside down in distress.
And what's their record again? Anyone?
Who cares?
3-6, I think, something like that. Yeah, that's a 3-6 team right there talking. Wow, that is sad. The Air Force Academy, real quick. I used to work with a teacher who was graduated from 7 guys in his graduating class of the Air Force Academy. I'm not making this up.
I thought that was a burger place.
He wound up being a science teacher. 2 of them became shuttle pilots. One of them became a general, and he became a science teacher. But anyway, they were having a reunion on campus, and the general was like 15 minutes late. And he showed up, and he's like, "It took me like a half hour to cross the main lawn because he had to stop and salute every 5 seconds."
Yep.
And he said, "Just once, I would like to just wear regular clothes and walk across campus and not have to stop every 5 seconds."
That's hilarious. And the funny thing is, though, with the general, even if they're not in uniform,
They
if
still
you
had
know
to.
they're a general, you still got to salute.
They still had to. And he's like, he gets, Anyway, yeah.
And he's got to
gotta
sell,
salute their car if it
cheap
drives
insurance,
by.
too.
Yeah. What, Dustin?
I said you got to salute their car if it drives by.
Oh man, jeez, poor guy. Yeah, that's too bad for the Chargers there, but they might have to get used to the moving. I think because I know it sounds like they're doing too well in LA either or
Right.
San Diego.
I don't get what they're crying about though, because that's kind of a lot of NFL teams do that. That's kind of a proven thing that happens that they do. I don't know how successful it is, but it's not out of the realm. It's not out of the norm. People train in high altitude to go play in in Mexico.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not better than I live in a second floor apartment and I get out of breath just sitting on my balcony. So,
See, yeah,
Yeah.
Matt gets
but I've
Matt
been there
gets it.
3 years
Matt
and I've got
gets
used to it now, and I only have the oxygen out on a Friday.
And they play the Broncos every year in Denver anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like, well, wait a minute, they're kind of used to it.
this
I
is
mean,
nothing new. You're right. Same
If
thing.
anything, or you should bring in like a smog machine.
Yeah,
Because you're just breathing pure 25
really.
million person, pollution.
Oh goodness, yeah. Maybe they should practice with like scuba gear in, so they can wear that stuff under their helmets.
But and it's a true story. I know the Chargers when they were in LA. I'm pretty sure it's been since they've been in LA. When they played the Raiders, they were home game, but they were so worried about the noise from Raider fans that they practiced at home with noise, so they were prepared for silent counts in a home game.
That's a true story.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right out of Major League.
Wow.
I mean-
What a franchise.
That's a lot.
What a wonderful franchise, Will. What else you got for us?
Well, Moses, you know how sometimes officials, when they miss a call, will do a makeup call shortly thereafter to
Absolutely.
try to say, "Hey, we're trying to call this game fair."
Yeah.
Well, as many people noted on the rather disastrous fumble that was returned for a touchdown in Monday night's game, the officials missed a pretty obvious face mask on Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Well, they had a makeup call later, only this was after the game. Santa Clara police announced that they arrested Jorge Alberto Lopez for felony vandalism after the conclusion of the game. because he was spotted ripping the face mask off of a statue of Joe Montana that's outside Levi's Stadium.
Yeah.
It's the statue of Joe Montana and Dwight Clark commemorating the catch. The 49ers released a statement saying, the Joe Montana statue that is part of the catch art installation located inside the stadium's gate plaza was vandalized following our recent Monday Night Football game. Security personnel apprehended the individual soon after, and the Santa Clara Police Department arrested him on felony vandalism charges. Crews have already begun repairs on the statue and expect work to be complete prior to Sunday's home game. So either this is a Seahawk fan who went way overboard, or this is a 49er fan who did not take that loss very well.
It's not been disclosed what his allegiance are.
I think it's the
I have
latter.
not found out.
I'm sorry, Mark. We got news from behind enemy lines. What do you got?
Yeah, they talked a little bit about it on the radio here, and they didn't say definitively, but it seems to me that it's more about a Niner fan.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Either way, though, that's just terrible.
It's awful.
We had something similar happen after the Ken Griffey Jr. statue went up in Seattle. Somebody broke the bat, I think it was, on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
and this was a couple weeks after they unveiled the statue, too.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is just, it's uncalled for. It's not cool. I don't care if you're pissed off or disappointed about something. Don't do that.
Absolutely. Oh, that's just horrible. I'm sorry. I am sorry to 49er fans. Even if it was a 49er fan or a Seahawk fan, it's inexcusable.
I think I got a solution, though. Why not have a statue of Kaepernick, and if you want to rip a face mask off, you could just kind of... and every week they put up a... There you go.
Yeah, just have like a reattachable face mask.
Oh, man. You could put one of Garoppolo and wear a Jadeveon Clowney jersey and practice knocking it down.
Well, even kids could do it, because since it'll be a statue of him kneeling, so kids could reach.
They could always have like a reattachment contract, which like you attach and then unattach and attach.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it'd be kind of one of those things that's like legal vandalism at the stadium. Like, I forget which pro sports team did that recently, but they have like a room where you can go in and break stuff when you're frustrated now.
Oh, yeah. It was one state. I know. One state, Philadelphia, but I'm not sure. But yes, there is a place you can break stuff. Yeah.
That'd be awesome if it was Philly.
Well, this year should be the Jets.
Courthouse that's in the stadium.
It should be the Jets. Did you say a whorehouse next to the stadium?
Well, there could be that, but no, it's a courthouse.
No, that'll be
courthouse.
in Vegas.
I thought you said a whorehouse next to the stadium.
That'll be next to the Raiders' new stadium in Vegas next year.
Don't give me any ideas.
Well, I think the whorehouse is Kraft's thing in New England. He has.
Oh, yes! Oh, my goodness. Wow, what a start. And on that note, Will, thank you so much for the news.
Anytime, Moses.
Oh, let's get out of the first quarter.
But Dennis, in Philly, you could be lured into the whorehouse.
Help us!
Man, this is bad play on words. Okay.
But what about the best little whorehouse in Texas?
Oh my God.
That's where
Jerry Jones' the glory hole.
We're never ending the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, we're going to get out of here while we can real quick. Coming up on this bye-week edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show, a whole new show. We'll be examining the Seahawks. But quarter two's coming up, and we're going to talk about last week's Monday night game. Well, I don't remember exactly how that game went against the 49ers. I guess we'll have to listen and see how that went. This is the 12-Man Fan Jam show, crushing the dreams of 49er faithful. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
That's the fact, Jack!
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
All right, we are at quarter two of this 12-Man Fan Jam show, the bye-week edition. It's time to talk about last week's thrilling overtime win over the 49ers, 27-24. And for some of us, Matt, we stayed up and got 5 hours of sleep that night. I know. Oh,
wow.
I know.
Well done, you.
But let me say
you
this.
must live in a mansion.
Let me tell you this. It's bad when you're watching the game, or you start. I started the thread on 12-Man Fan Jam show. We have a game thread, so I put the game day thread up, and Matt comes on and says, "Well, guys, good luck. I'm going to bed. I gotta go to work tomorrow." Okay, the game goes on, and it gets to almost overtime, and all of a sudden, Matt, "Good morning, everybody. What's going on?" It's like, oh, that is so bad.
What did I miss?
What I miss?
Oh, nothing.
Oh my God, that was
That's
so funny.
awesome.
Yeah, Usually we try to keep this quarter short, but listen, anytime you knock the 49ers from the undefeated ranks in their house on Monday Night Football, I don't care how long it takes. We can talk about this as long as we want to. So we'll start with Dustin. Dustin, wrap this game up for us, man. Tell us your thoughts.
I thought it was really entertaining.
Yes.
Just as a football game, I think anybody could have watched this one and loved what they were seeing and really had a good time with it.
Yes.
Now, as a Seahawks fan or 49ers fan, it raised and lowered your blood pressure a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're just on the edge of your seat the whole time, which was awesome. I was really, really happy that they had a Jadeveon Clowney party. He finally emerged as the guy that we were hoping he would be. That was a lot of fun. The debut of Quandre Diggs was cool.
Yes.
He threw some hits. Also, the debut of Josh Gordon. He got in there a little bit. Overall, it was a lot of fun. The only thing I didn't really like about the game was the sloppiness and the turnovers, man.
Yeah.
That was part of the roller coaster.
Yeah, they got to work on that. Real quick, the Clowney thing, I had in the back of my head about Wednesday on Twitter, somebody put up a highlight reel last time Clowney played the 49ers. Of course, he was a Texan. And he just completely destroyed them. And I don't know how long ago this was because it was Garoppolo, so it could have been that long ago.
And
he
doesn't play much.
He absolutely destroyed Garoppolo. And I remember thinking, well, gosh, it'd be nice if he did half of this for us. And he destroyed them again. So I was really excited to see that, without question. I think everybody was. Brian Baldinger, that does all the video film work on NFL Network, said the best defensive line performance he's seen all year, hands down, not even close. He called him chaos, which I love. He said, here comes chaos. He kept calling him chaos. How did Garoppolo throw that ball with chaos in his face?
That's going to stick.
I love chaos. I love the name Chaos for Clowney. What can you say? A monster game for him. But yeah, it was a lot of good things in that game, Matt. What else are we not talking about?
I don't want to go down on it, but I do think it's worth talking a little bit about the officiating in this game. Only because it did have a big part of... I didn't get to watch it live. I got to watch it, obviously, following the game afterwards, although I did see the last, the overtime stuff. But looking at it, it's like... there did seem to be a marked difference between the way in which a quarterback is being protected by some referees and the way in which our quarterback is being protected by the referees. There does look like there's an awful lot of missed calls. I have to accept the fact that these referees have to see it in real time and therefore don't always get the opportunity to revisit every single decision they make. But you look at some of this stuff and you're like, why can you not see that blatant face mask? How is it that I could see that face mask watching it real time, from 4,000 miles away, but you couldn't see that face mask in real time? Well, how many times does that clock have to reach zero before you call a delay a game? These sorts of the things that are starting to get a little bit samey.
Well, the inconsistency was terrible, especially when Russell Wilson was involved, because on the play where he got face masked and then Fetty had that awesome run, there was a similar play to that where he was getting pushed back, and then they called it like he was momentum stopped, play over, even though he broke free and got forward and got 7 or 8 yards.
7 yards, yeah.
Yeah, and they said, no, momentum was stopped. He's down back here. So if momentum was stopped on that play, why wasn't it stopped on the other play that was similar, where they ended up recovering a fumble, running it to the end zone? And then when he was sliding, he had already been on the ground in his slide and then got blasted and no call, which is a big no-no.
But, normally I absolutely hate having to sit here and say, oh, it's about the refs, because at the end of the day, both teams have the same refs for the same game, so it should be equally poorly officiated on both sides. The only trouble I have with this game is that it didn't feel like that, didn't look like that. It was one of those situations where it did seem to be absolutely more against us than it was the Niners.
I'm gonna give the refs a little credit here. First off, the zero thing, from what I've heard before, is when the clock strikes zero, it's like if you had a second hand, you had a tenth of a second hand with it, and that zero is 0.9. So there's going to be a zero, and then there'd be a whistle. So they get that zero. It's actually they're told that zero is 0.9. So they say zero, and then that ball better get hiked soon, or it's going to be a penalty. But I think part of why it's not right at zero is because they look at it at 0.9.
Well, do you know what? Yeah. We can fix that, though. We can fix that with a simple
by putting it up
change.
there.
By put the clock up there, and when it does hit 0, make an enormous alarm go off.
There you go. I think that's a perfect idea. Now, and as much as you're right on all the calls that they missed, and they did miss a lot, I'm going to give them a little credit on some of the weirdest plays of the night. They nailed it. Like all the ones that were reviewed, the refs made the right call. And you're right. They made a lot of bad calls that game. But they got some of the weirdest calls that I would have never gotten right. And even I said, oh, he was out of bounds. He couldn't recover it. They did a lot of weird things. The weird things they nailed. Now, the obvious things they didn't. But some of those weird calls, man, they did nail them pretty well. So
yeah, the thing with Tart and Metcalf, I didn't understand at all. Like Tart was out of bounds, had his hands around the ball. I figured at that point the play would have been over.
Well, I know you don't listen to the TV, but the ref was explaining it, that if he, that it was the right call. And when he explained it, I'm like, yeah, I guess that's the right call. And I thought, man, how did they make that call at that time? Because it's just such a bizarre play.
It was super weird. There's a good rule change to be made there. That you cannot strip a ball whilst you're out of bounds. You have to be in the field of play.
Right. And that's something to look at.
Kind of the cool thing about that play, though, Metcalf just threw that dude around like he was nothing.
Yeah. Well, and both times Metcalf has fumbled, he has tried to make more than what's there. And I think he'll learn that. I think even Coach said that in a press conference. Metcalf's trying to do a little too much, where if it goes down there at the 3, we're okay. He doesn't have to reach out and try to get that touchdown just, with guys all over him. And he's just trying to do, I don't mind it because he's trying to do more than he should, but he's trying to, make extra.
I love a rookie that tries.
Me too.
A rookie that doesn't try isn't normally on the team for very
Give me
long.
that every day of the week. I agree. Will, what are your thoughts on the game? Something we haven't talked about?
I'm going to focus on a couple players who made their debuts in that game that I think have showed that they have the potential to really be strong for us going down the stretch. First one is Quandre Diggs, and I've not seen that much of an impact from the safety position since the Legion of Boom days. Not just the interception, which was real heads up. It was really great. Got a lot of yards, but there was a play, it might have been the drive before that, just a simple dump off pass. The guy got maybe 5 yards. Diggs comes flying in like a guided missile.
Yes.
And just knocks the ever-loving snot out of the guy. And I'm sitting there going, is that Cam?
Well, and they showed it on Twitter. They have that play. He is lined up. They're at like the 20. He's lined up on the other side of the 49er logo when he starts.
Yep.
And like you said, it was a 5 yard. Now just think about it in your head how far he had to travel and how fast. And you see this guy just like I'm going to say it, like Earl Thomas, just zip across the field as quick as he can and just waylay this guy. And you're like, I can't believe what I just saw. It's even better when you have the whole view. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's the kind of playmaking ability that this defense really needs at safety, and we haven't had since Cam had to retire, since Thomas broke his leg and left the team.
Yeah.
So if this is we had to trade a 5th round pick for this guy, worth it.
Oh, amen.
And really quick, the other one, I was impressed with Josh Gordon.
Yes.
I wasn't too excited when we put in the waiver claim for him, is because it's like, okay, if New England's getting rid of him, and they don't really have a lot at the position, what's going? Is there something going on here? Is he hurt? Is he done? What's going on? But after only about a week of practice, to come in when the game's on the line and make 2 key 3rd down receptions and making those like it was nothing, and the second one was going up against Richard Sherman. The other thing we really haven't had in this offense was a consistent threat at the 3rd receiver position. I mean, Lockett's been playing out of his mind. DK Metcalf, you see the potential there, and that's just going to get better and better. But after that, I mean, David Moore and Jerron Brown are good for plays every now and then. They can do it. They just haven't really done it consistently. But Josh Gordon, if this is what he can bring to us, that's a consistent threat at that position. That's only going to make our offense even better.
Absolutely. And that catch, is that the one, Sherman, is that the one where he was going across the middle of the field and he had to reach down by his knees and get it?
Yep.
That's amazing.
He
When
had
I
kind
saw
of a
that,
couple of slants.
oh my
like that,
God.
yeah.
That one where he caught at his knees, I went, oh my God, that was amazing. That was amazing. Right there, he was worth it at that point right there. To go across full speed, reach down by your knees, pluck that ball up, and wow, that was just amazing.
Especially for a big receiver like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree with you on both those. Great points. Statsman Mark, what are your thoughts? What have we missed?
Well, it was, being here, I mean, this was the most hyped game in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely, and much like Matt, I kind of had to watch a review because I was working. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I ended up watching it more on film, so to speak. I heard some of it on the radio. But to me, what I liked is that it definitely was a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
Apparently the stadium was alive, and you could kind of hear it even on
the
highlights. The
yes.
crowd was loud.
Oh,
yes.
It actually...
Credit to the Niner fans. They showed up.
Amen.
They did show up, and it almost felt like it almost had the vibe of like the conference championship game. All these weird turnovers. You could clearly see RW was celebrating like a rookie all over again, running on the field. And I love seeing that too, because he doesn't really allow himself that too often.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a classy guy. So for him to kind of hoop it up, I mean, he shows positive energy, but he looked especially happy. That looked like a homecoming win of some kind for him.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought it was like a college rivalry game is what it seemed
like.
It
really did. And so, and I think that's huge for the young guys to be in that environment now and to pull off the win.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we've been talking about our defense. Wow. And my sports headline down here would have been Tears of a Clowny, or Tears from a Clowny, something like that.
Tears from a Clowny, yeah, that was
nice. He just was all over Garoppolo. Yeah. And likewise, conversely, Garoppolo, I think personally, I do feel there's upside to the guy. I don't think this is all you get, but he was kind of a deer in headlights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now he was.
And my son brought that up. He said, "Look, he's scared." I said, "Yeah, he's scared."
And everything, but he only has 20 career games under his belt, but some of his decision making, wow, if we didn't have the dropsies on a couple of those, I mean, he could have had 5 turnovers. He had 3 turnovers. So
they had the dropsies too, and some people are theorizing their dropsies came for the same reason, that their receivers got a little short arm, little alligator armed across the middle after a couple hits.
And that would be Diggs' impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the game, it's a big win, of course, and of course it meant everything in terms of remaining in contention for the division, because if we drop that, then
Yeah, and I'm going to say some things here that I'm not comfortable saying, but I'm going to say them. And one of the things is, hats off to the 49er faithful. They showed up. They were loud. They were a great crowd. And I don't hate the 49ers. The Harbaugh and him waving at the bus as it's leaving, that is the reason I hated the 49ers. I hated Harbaugh. I hated Crabtree, and there was a lot of reasons to hate that team then.
That arrow is easy to hate.
But now they've got a wonderful coach. That John Lynch is one of my favorite players of all time. He has put together a fantastic club down there. He's done it the right way. They've drafted the right guys.
Whoa!
Whoa! The right personnel. And as I'm watching this game into the third quarter, I'm like, they're making plays. I think at one point I said in the second quarter on the thread, they want it more than we do. At the second quarter, I felt that way. They were playing like they wanted this game, and I just, hats off to them. They played a whale of the game. We play this thing 10 times, it's going to go 5-5. And so I can't hate them because they just played so well, and they really wanted to win this game, and we took their best shot on the road in front of a crowd on Monday night and came away with the victory. I think it's time for us to start realizing that this team we have is the real deal. There's no excuse. There's no who have we played. There's no, hey, well, they're not that good. Baloney. This team can be considered, in my opinion, one of the top teams in the NFC. I don't think there's any question.
They played to the level of their competition.
Yeah, exactly. So, but do you feel? But it still felt good to beat them, though, don't you?
Of course. Oh, absolutely. It feels wonderful to beat the 49ers. And I feel the same way about the Rams, really. I don't hate McVay or Goff or any of the Gurley or any of those guys. But, that old hatred from those teams is gone. But, yeah, to beat them, does it feel good? You damn right it feels good. Absolutely. Love the fact.
I'm with you. I don't hate any of our division rivals at all. I think our division, there's only one team in the entire NFL which I have a visceral dislike towards, and that's New England. And it's because, and the only reason that is because it's so over here. There's so many people who are New England fans. You have to imagine the air quotes that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Simply because they've had 20 years of success, for no other reason other than that. And of course, the fact they've got the word England in the bloody name. So it's like, well, you have no idea what you're talking about, people.
Yeah, maybe the Carolina Panthers for Little Mo and I. Speaking of Little Mo, real quick, that last field goal attempt by the 49er kicker, I had taken my hat off, and I was sitting there, and I looked over, he had his hands in his head, and he's staying up with me till midnight again. I know he says it's not a big deal, but for a 14-year-old kid, it is. He's got his hands in his face, hands in his face. Or his face in his hands. I mean, it's his face. He has his hands in his face.
Hands to the face.
He was not happy.
Did you throw a flag? Yeah.
He had his hands over his face. I was sitting there. I was like, you know what? If he makes this, I'm still proud of our team. We played well. We gave him everything we could give him. This is not a loss for either team. And then he shanked it, and I went, oh, we're alive. And everything just changed. It was crazy.
Wow. Let me tell you. So from the thread, you noticed that I did clock in literally in overtime, and my first play that I watched was the interception by Wilson, and I was like, "Well, I've just spooked this one completely. This is entirely my fault because I haven't watched any of this." And then all of a sudden, as soon as I start watching, he throws an INT. I hadn't looked at any of the previous. Then I went to the loo, went for a wee. And all that sort of stuff. And as I came back, I was listening, and I could hear that there was, they'd marched down the field, and it was going to be a field goal. I thought, well, that's it then. So I've now, not only I've ruined it for the game by watching it, which I shouldn't have done. I'm also up way too early in the morning. I'm not going to be able to go back to bed, so I'm going to be up all the rest of the day. I'm going to be tired. I'm lost. I'm going to be annoyed. And when he says he shanked it, I was like, you know what? And I had to come all the way back through again to have a look at this, just to see how pathetic it actually was.
Right.
Did you guys see the video from the stands on that one?
Yeah, we went into
right down the tunnel. Yeah. I mean, that's almost impossible to do.
That was Vanderjet bad.
Yeah, it
Vanderjet, nice.
Hey, Moses?
Yes.
Really quick, that first quarter when they went up 10-0, I was yelling at the TV and hating life and everything. And I just I got so sick of the announcers, which, by the way, ESPN, throw a few bucks and get a decent announcing team, because these guys are horrible. Please. So I pulled a Dustin. I muted the TV, but I couldn't stream the radio calls. I couldn't get that to work at my house, so I pulled out my old radio and listened to it the old-fashioned way.
Wow.
Problem was the radio was actually 3 seconds ahead of the TV feed. So
I've been running into that as well.
After a while, though, it worked pretty well, just because it's like, okay, I could kind of zone out. Then if Rabel started getting excited, it's like, ooh, what's going on?
Nice,
crazy game. So wow, I think we've dissected that. We have a whole bye week to enjoy it too, which is even better. So
and
great way to go to bye week.
I kept hitting refresh on my phone when the Niners were lining up for their kick, and I couldn't believe it.
That was crazy.
When he missed, I'm like, holy love and rockets. I'm alive, right?
Yeah, twice.
So, so what are the odds that we sign that kicker next year?
Shut up, Dustin.
Yeah. Hey, enough of that. Speaking of Dustin, you're going to be very interested in this. It's time for the 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
Yes, the 2-minute warning. We'll go through our posse prediction challenge, and Dustin's going to enjoy, I think, this part of the show rather a lot. Let's see. First, for the scores, 27-24. I got a 3-point win, so I got 2 points. 3 points to Mark, Ty Turner, and Statsman Mark. You had 24 points going to the 49ers.
Yep.
Dustin gets a perfect score again. 5 points to Dustin.
Wow.
27-24. Well played,
Twice
sir.
in 1 year.
It gets better.
I did not know that.
He also said it would be a game-winning field goal by Myers, which means he gets his prognostication as I did. Mike Pascal, Jose, and Will. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. 1 point for their prognostications. Game ball, I gave a point to Tom and Mike for Metcalf. I think 6 catches, 70 yards. I gave a point to Matt and Will for Wagner. He had 11 tackles. I gave Dustin a point for Myers, game-winning field goal. I gave a point to Statsman Mark for Clowney. How can you argue that one?
Yep.
I gave a point to me, 25 carries and 89 yards for Carson, very, very quietly, very businesslike, but yet very clutch. The only ones that didn't get it were Gordon and Lockett, and I could have gotten one for Gordon, but he only had 2 or 3 catches. I'd like to see a couple more catches, and Lockett only had like 2 or 3 catches as well. So the over and under was over. A point to Tom, Little Mo, Mike, Jose, Will, Dustin, Statsman, Mark, and me. Individual scores for week 9. Dustin, 8 points.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Perfect score.
Yeah. Statsman, Mark, 5. Me, 5. Will, 3. Mike, 3.
Wow.
Mark, Ty Turner, 3. Tom, 2. Jose, 2. Little Mo, 1. Matt, 1. Everyone got at least a point. Individual scores after 9 games look like this. Mike Pascal still on top at 25. Dustin at 23. I don't know how he's beating you. Statsman Mark at 22. I'm at 19. Tom at 14. Will at 14. Little Mo at 12. Matt at 12. Mark Ty Turner at 11. Jose at 10. Gentlemen, we were only up by 6 points last week?
Yep.
Going into the bye week, Team 12, 72. Team Posse, 90. 18 point lead. Gentlemen. So, we have a week to brag about that until we pick next week. So, congratulations, everybody. 18-point lead. So, let's go ahead and go to halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Coming up on this very special bye-week edition of your 12-man Fan Jam show. So many more questions to ask. Who was that kicker really? Who was our kicker really? And is Robbie Gould really that hurt? All these answers and more coming around the corner. But first, another fine edition of 12-man Fan Jam show, halftime trivia. And that's coming up next.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mia, and welcome to another edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
From the world!
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Matt, Statsman, Mark, Dustin, and Will. And here are the rules, dude.
So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show trivia champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
All right, time for the trivia to start. Dustin?
Yes.
It will begin. Dustin, you get pick 1 through 4.
Let's get out of the way. I'll go 1.
Dustin's going to get out of the way and pick
I'm going
1.
to get the question out of the way.
Oh, okay. Will, 2, 3, 4.
3.
Mark, 2, 4.
Given my percentage, I'll go number 2.
That's awesome.
Right.
For
those
the
of
correct
you,
answer was 2.
Mark, I'm right down there with you, man.
and for those of you keeping score, that means
It should just be by ringtone.
Is anybody
Somebody's
even
keeping
listening?
score?
I don't know if anybody's keeping score. If anybody's keeping score, you're not. That means number
It's
4 will go
almost
to
worth.
Matt.
It's almost worth editing all this out just so we can do that whole gag again. Just answer. The answer was 2.
No.
That would be awesome. We got to do that next time if we don't
All
do
right.
it now.
Stop it. All right, Dustin, are you ready?
Ready as I'm going to be.
All right. This is about the season, by the way, so far.
I figured it was about NSYNC.
Yeah, no. How many times this season has Chris Carson rushed for over 100 yards in the game? 4 times, 5 times, or 6 times?
I want to say 5. So I'm going to say 5.
You want to say 5. Dan!
Final answer.
You're going to say 5?
Yep.
You want to think about it?
Final answer.
Final answer. All right. Sorry, organ player. All right. He said 5. Mosette said 4. Little Mo said 6. You said 5. No, it was 4. He rushed for 100 times, 4 times.
Are you sure you didn't think Mark was talking?
I'm sorry?
Are you sure you didn't think Mark was talking?
I'm sure. At Arizona, against the Rams, at Cleveland, and home against Tampa Bay. All right. Mark.
I apologize, Mark.
I'm going to talk to Mark now. Hey, Mark.
See.
Hey. How many times has Tyler Lockett had 100 receiving yards in the game this year? 3, 4, or 5? Tyler Lockett and 100 receiving yards.
Let's see. I'll check with the kids.
3, 4, 5. Little Mo said 3. Mosette said 4.
Let's see.
Carry the 2.
I will go 4.
Divide by pi. Draw a smiley face.
He's giving you an answer.
What did he say? Mark,
4.
Oh, you said 4? I'm sorry. I was too busy making sport of you to notice.
You had one job, Moses.
I had to
4,
unmute my
is it?
mic just so you could hear me laugh at that because that was so funny.
Mosette said 4. Lomo said 3. You said 4. Well, guess what? Nah, it was 3. New Orleans, at Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. 3 times he's had 100 yards receiving. All right.
You know, whenever I take off my shirt and I look in the mirror, there's all the scars on my back from getting whipped in this trivia.
Okay. We need to stop right here. Mark, you need to stop taking your shirt off during the show.
It's like our 12-man show, or the halftime trivia stigmata
Where has this
going
show
on there.
gone? Where are we now? What?
Pretty much where we've always been.
Oh my God! I gotta ring this thing in. Will.
Yes.
Oh, this will work. Yeah. Hey, Will.
Oh dear.
In 1869.
No.
Are you fracking kidding me?
The city of Cincinnati. Who we played the Bengals.
It was around then?
Yeah, became the first city to establish what? A ferry system, a photography class, or a weather bureau? What's the first thing Cincinnati did in 1869?
Well, this is right up Matt's alley.
A ferry system, a photography class, or a weather bureau? Or maybe they looked at the weather to take pictures of ferries. I don't know. A ferry system, a photography class, or a weather bureau. 1869, the city of Cincinnati became the first to do what?
I'll say Weather Bureau.
Let's say weather bureau. Wow. Little Momo's that said a photography class. You said weather bureau. Yeah, a weather bureau.
Yep. Strong work.
Okay then. I do my best work on these non-football questions.
You do very well. Yes. Yes.
I have this storehouse of completely useless knowledge.
Don't we all?
Whorehouse?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Who had the
Our
first
hearing.
whorehouse?
All of our hearing is just gone tonight.
I wish I had that app.
Yeah, Moses, really quick, find a whorehouse related question and work it into the next round.
Oh, whole new show. Whole new show, everybody.
Oh,
goodness.
man.
Oh,
this
my
rock
Lord.
salt feels good in my wound.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, Matt. Oh, my God. Okay, Matt.
Can you get control of the show, please?
I'm trying. No one's listening. Okay, here we go. Matt, DK Metcalf has been held to one catch only once this season.
Right.
Who was it against? Was it against the Bengals, the Cardinals, or the Rams?
Oh, that's the kids.
That's the kids. They both said the Bengals.
Oh, shit. Well, that doesn't help.
Bengals, Cardinals, or Rams?
Rams.
Rams. It's the musical. Rams.
Rams, the beer refreshing. Rams.
Rams, the wrong answer. It's the Cardinals, actually. He was.
I knew it wasn't going to be the Bengals.
I know.
I should have asked for that one since I was just adding up all the
I
yards.
knew
I
the
saw
minute
all
you were
that.
down, I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't get the Metcalf question.
Yeah.
Because I knew that that's what you were doing. You son of a gun. All right, so we're going to go to the second round. And Will gets the pick 5, 6, 7, 8.
I will do 6.
Okay, Dustin, 578.
I'm gonna go with what usually works for me and say 8.
That always works.
Going first didn't work.
Matt, 5'7".
I'll go with 7.
That means that Mark gets to start us off this round. Mark, hey, you ready, Mark?
Well, not really, but
Come on,
we'll
buddy.
proceed.
Come on, buddy. Here we go. In what game so far this season was Bobby Wagner credited with a forced fumble? Only once. Was it against the Cardinals, the Falcons, or the Ravens? Forced fumble for Bobby Wagner against the Cardinals, the Falcons, or the Ravens?
Let's see. Cardinals. Wow. I'm going to go Falcons.
Gonna go Falcons. Mosette went Falcons. Little Mo went Ravens. You went Falcons. No Falcon way. It's Ravens. Sorry.
No
It's the Ravens, and we move on to Will. Hey, Will.
Yes?
You had it rough last time, man. 1869. I mean, I'm not lying. That was rough.
It's
Okay,
going to
ready?
get rougher, isn't
That's
it?
a setup.
In 1890,
Wow.
Cleveland. We played
31 years.
Cleveland.
You can't tell me you don't script these things.
I don't.
I know. It kind of
1890
seems like the order we go in is irrelevant because he just matches the question to the person. I think.
No, I always move it around.
Throw
I
a
always move it
flag.
around.
Throw a flag, Will.
I move it around. In 1890, Cleveland opened the first what? 1890, Cleveland opened the first what? Automobile dealership, horse betting track, or indoor shopping mall?
You say whorehouse.
No whorehouse.
Whorehouse.
Or whorehouse. Automobile dealership, horse betting track, indoor shopping mall, or whorehouse?
I'm going to ask the kids, and I hope they didn't say whorehouse.
They didn't say whorehouse. They did not. Mosette said horse betting track, and Lil Mo said indoor shopping mall. Automobile dealership, horse betting track, or indoor shopping mall. 1890, Cleveland opened the first what?
Well, I'll go auto dealership.
He'll go automobile dealership. Sorry, it was whorehouse. No, it was indoor shopping mall. Indoor shopping mall, 1890.
Ah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why you didn't know that. Matt.
Hello.
Hello. The most tackles Shaquill Griffin has logged in one game this season was 9.
Wow.
Who did he have 9 against? The Bengals, the Browns, or the Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Cardinals. Little Mo said Bengals.
Good.
Mosette said Cardinals.
Damn it.
You said Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Matt gets points.
That old familiar Matty song.
Yeah. Dustin.
Yeah.
KJ Wright's only interception this season came against who? The Bengals, the Browns, or the Cardinals? Should have been one against 49ers. We won't go there. Bengals,
Yeah.
Browns, or
Made my
Cardinals.
life a lot
KJ Wright's
easier.
only interception this year.
I will say Cleveland.
I will say
'Cause
Cleveland.
Screw Baker Mayfield.
Mosette and Lil Mo said the Bengals. You said Browns because screw Baker Mayfield. Yes!
That was sound logic.
Screw
There you go.
Baker Mayfield, everybody.
Do I have
Not a
to?
fan of that guy at all. I really don't like him. It's just like his demeanor. Not a fan.
So here's where we stand. Will has a point. Dustin has a point. And Matt has a point. And Mark, you're
What's your
you're
point,
behind.
Moses?
But you know what? do not panic because it's time for the final question. Final question, of course, is a number. The closest without going over gets 2 points and becomes reigning 12-man Van Jam Show halftime trivia champion. All right.
Of the world.
Of the world.
Of the world. And the order that we will go is Mark will go first.
Surprise.
Will go second. Dustin will go third. And Matt will go last. All right, here we go. Here's your question, gentlemen. We're going to start with Mark. Mark, we always talk about Jason Myers on the show. How many points has Jason Myers scored this season for the Seahawks so far? How many points Jason Myers has scored for the Seahawks so far this season? Please no Googling, no phone a friend, no Bing, no...
How many points?
How many points? Because this will be easy to find. How many points has Jason Myers scored so far this season?
Let's see. I will. Boy, wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I will need a moment here.
We'll keep the show moving.
I know.
Yeah.
Please, let's see. I'm gonna say 91.
91 for Mark. Will, how many points for Jason Myers?
69, dude.
69, dude. Dustin?
Is not enough a good answer?
No, I need to be more specific.
No.
We're at 91 and 69.
75. I don't know. 75.
91, 69, 75. Matt.
68.
68. Well, somebody nailed it.
Ooh.
It's Matt.
Yeah.
Probably Matt.
The number of points that Jason Myers has scored so far this season, 69, dude.
Oh no!
Wow.
Was that a guess?
Bill and Ted, thank you.
Yeah, he totally Bill and Ted'd that.
Was that a total guess?
That was a total guess.
Awesome.
I finally was not won over.
Amazing.
You want to be
And
one
worth
of
the
poetic
wait.
justice
69.
because you had two of the worst questions we've ever had on this show.
That's saying quite a bit, Moses.
Unbelievable. Man, congratulations, Will. Shadowhawk, our champion. Way to go, man.
Till all are one.
You nailed it. I can't believe it was unbelievable. You're a winner, as they're saying here.
He won
You
with
are.
style with the Bill and Ted thing too.
I know, 69, dude. Like, you know, when I wrote it down, I thought somebody's going to go 69. I really did. And it happened. Glorious. Unbelievable, Will. Congratulations again, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
Of the world.
of the world. We'll be back with the second half of the show right after this. Take us out. Whoever the hell this is, take us out.
I like to think it's Optimus Prime.
That would be Stan Bush, Moses.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
All right, it is time for the third quarter 12-Man Fan Jam Show, now with more Retson for that wider smile. Before we get into our Seahawk disappointments, this is usually where we go over information for next week's game, but the Seahawks are not having a game next week. And why is that, Will?
They're on the bye.
They're on a bye week, baby!
You had to say it, didn't you, Will? You had to say it.
Well, I figured he would wait and until somebody did. So.
Well, you could have said they were on.
If you guys could see me right now,
Yeah, they're
I don't
scheduled
know.
to be off.
just imagine.
I'm imagining.
I am just, this place is falling apart with me jumping around right now. You have no idea.
Yeah, that we can imagine.
It is the bye week.
Yep.
Hey, our receivers cannot be wrong. All right, it is
Don't
the bye
forget
week.
to clap your hand like you're wearing an oven mitt.
You're damn right. On strings, too. All right. I always like my JT, but we won't go into that. Let's talk about the Seahawks disappointments so far this season, and we're 10 games in the season, so we have a lot of material here. We're going to start with Dustin. Dustin, who in particular would you like to discuss that's just hasn't lived up to the hype so far this season?
To me, I think the biggest one, or biggest ones in this case, is Leno and Tedrick.
Okay.
We kept getting that phrase of finding the right combination at safety all season, and it turned out the right combination consisted of McDougald with a player that wasn't even on the roster.
Right.
We had actually trade to find a guy that made it the right combination, and the other two, one of them is on IR, and the other one I believe is benched. I don't know what's going on with him. I can't remember off the top of my head. But to me, that is the biggest disappointment because we've had such good safety play with the Legion of Boom years and whatnot. And so the expectation that we found these guys in the draft that could come in and and kind of take over for Earl and Cam, never substantiated. They've had time, they've had opportunity. Neither one of them could grab it.
Yeah.
And we had to find somebody else to come in and be a part of it. So
and
that's
Tedrick
my
just
biggest
got
disappointment.
and Tedrick just got to be a flat out disappointment as this not just disappointment but flat out liability. Especially that Ravens game. There were a couple times
2 incredible interceptions, but that's been his whole career to date.
Yeah. I agree with you. Those pretty major disappointments. Matt, what do you got?
I've got a couple of disappointments for me. One is Ken Norton Jr. And some of the schemes and some of the plays that have been, developed really. And I think it's sad because it makes a struggling defense struggle harder if it's not really getting the direction that it needs from those plays and those play calls as well. So we play a very basic defense anyway, so it's very obvious what we're going to do. And if I can sit at home and see it, sometimes it's like, well, I'm sure they can too. The other disappointment for me is somebody called Mary Robinson. She was sitting in front of me at the Ravens game, who insisted on talking to me throughout the whole of the third quarter. Tried to thrust a 12-man flag in my hand in the anticipation that I would give her my C-Jack. No, Mary! Very disappointed with you, Mary. Very disappointed.
Oh, Mary. Oh, my God.
And she kept talking when we were on offense.
I know. I was there. Very sad. Ken Norton Jr., when we got Pete Carroll as coach, one of the things that I personally was more excited or as excited about was the fact that Ken Norton Jr. was coming from USC with him because I loved his enthusiasm. I loved the way he handled his linebackers. I still do. But, I got to admit, even I am going, maybe this coordinator thing isn't for you, buddy. And,
it's so basic though we always play a very basic defense. I understand that, but sometimes it's just, if I can see what's going to happen, surely they can.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and Matt, I didn't even think about this until you mentioned Norton, but one of the things that I was thinking about is a disappointment until Moses said you needed to have a specific player. I said the lack of success with the 3 linebackers on the field. Because they're all super talented, too infatuated with it, and the scheme doesn't seem to fit those guys.
Yeah.
Norton was a linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah.
He was a linebacker coach for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So that might feed into what the issue is.
Good point. That's well said, Dustin. Good point. Will, what are your thoughts on disappointments this year?
Well, oddly enough, my disappointment is going to be a player who got off to an incredible start this year. I'm just disappointed that he can't play again, and that would be Will Dissly.
Yeah.
You look at what Dissly has been able to do in the first 2 years of his career. I mean, we brought him in just to be a blocking tight end, and he has turned out to be an incredible weapon, but he's only played 10 games. I mean, he had the patellar tendon injury after 4 games last year. He had the, was it Achilles injury this year?
I think so.
Yeah. Yep.
And these are kind of fluke injuries. It's not the kind of thing, these are going to heal and he can come back. But, I'm just disappointed that we've got this great player and we can't get him on the field. He's just been hurt.
Yeah.
So I hope that it is just a fluke. I hope that next year when he comes back, he's the same guy and actually stays healthy and makes a contribution all year long. But I'm just disappointed.
I've been wondering
that we
about
haven't been
that
able to see
dude,
him.
Will. I'm sorry. I've been wondering about that dude. You watched him with the Huskies, right?
Yeah.
Did he have any injuries that are similar to this when he was with the Huskies?
Not that I can recall.
Okay, that's a good thing. I was starting to get worried he had like an underlying disease because there are diseases that attack ligaments and tendons like that, and they seem to be a weak point for him.
But I think both injuries came when he was really reaching for a ball and really hustling out there. So, I mean, it seemed like both of them came when he was really trying to do more than maybe his body was prepared for. But I agree with you. I actually had it on my list, Dissly. And just from the standpoint because he's injured, I agree. It's too bad. Satsman, Mark, what about you? Disappointment this year so far on the Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean, I think of a couple areas. Ziggy.
We're not getting Ziggy with it, are we?
That just seems to.
No.
Kind of a bust, and then even though here he did, he had a great game, and he booted us the win, kicked us to the win. I have not been overly impressed with Myers. The previous show, I even said, I'm ready to cut him loose. But
I was
obviously,
as well. Yeah.
Maybe I do. Now that said, I do like the support that Carroll has given him, and then he got a lot of love after that kick, and maybe that will make a difference for him. Who knows? I also, when I think about it, and even though they've been in the rotation a little bit, and maybe they've made a few plays, but it seems like, for as high draft capital as we've spent on LJ Collier and Rasheem Green, I kind of forget they're even on the team. And
I think Rasheem has made definite contributions.
He did,
especially more than Collier.
He has. Maybe that's And
so
again,
I would pull back on the Green, but I agree with you on Collier.
I like that. Carroll gives priority to guys who have put in the work a little bit longer. Blah blah blah. But when they're first rounders, not that I expect 10 sacks their rookie year, but you just want a little bit more. It just seems it's really, it's kind of like the way we whiff in the first round.
When he's being a healthy scratch, which is concerning.
Yeah,
you like to have his name called once in a while for a positive play.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's a hard position for a rookie to come in and play anyway, and losing basically his entire offseason to injury, kind of stuck him behind the 8 ball. So I agree with you on there, but I definitely wouldn't write the kid off yet.
No.
And here's one other thing to think about with him.
And also,
here's one other thing to think about with him is that he was kind of touted as our Michael Bennett when he comes back.
Yeah.
Or when he comes in. And Michael Bennett, what happened to him when he was with the Seahawks originally?
He got cut.
In favor of a second
So
it takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say, and it's been written, although I still personally think the kid has upside, but again, it seems like we for the amount we're using him, we took Penny a bit high.
Penny struggled this year. But
he can't get any kind of rhythm. I think Penny has a shot. I don't know if he'll be.
I think he'll be fine.
I think if Carson went, God forbid, if Carson had to miss a game for whatever reason, if Penny maybe were given 20 carries, if it turned into that kind of game, maybe he would finally find a rhythm. It's very hard to get into a rhythm when you have like 6,
Yeah, I wouldn't put Penny as a disappointment, but I wouldn't put him as a surprise either. I think he's having a rougher year this year without question.
So my official answer should be Collier after all
that. And Mark, to your point on Penny, his best game as a pro was when Carson was out against the Rams last year, and he ran for over 100 yards because he was the primary back. So I think you're right there.
Yeah, he just doesn't. It's really hard to get into a rhythm,
Yeah, and what comes down to kickers, I think. Last year we complained a lot about Sebastian Janikowski, but if you look at his stats from last year, when compared to other kickers in the league, he was about 15th, which is right about middle of the pack. As bad as that was, and I think that one of the best things the NFL has done is move that extra point back to a 30-yard kick because it's more exciting now because it's not automatic. It's not bathroom time anymore when they kick the extra point, and that has made a difference. We've seen more missed kicks on extra points than ever before, which I think is good for the game because it brings, competition out. You got to go for 2 or you're only up by 4 instead of 5 or 3 instead of 4. And I think, I guess what I'm saying is I just like to know where Myers is with comparing to everyone else around the league. I know that he's having a bad year, but how bad is it compared to other kickers? Because I'm watching those games on Sunday and kickers are missing left and right all over the place.
So how bad is he
compared to everybody else is what I want to know.
I think we're probably comparing it to nostalgia to Hauschka when he was good and when
or when the extra point was automatic and I don't think there's anybody right now automatic. Vinatieri's having an awful year, I know.
In particular, 87 years old.
Well, he's also 87 years old. But
I'm pretty sure he's that dude from Thundercats, Mumra.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like him.
He does. But I just like to know because last year we talked about Janikowski and he wound up being like middle of the road, really statistically. It's a bad year for kickers overall. Myers is struggling. There's no question. But how much is he struggling compared to the rest of the league is what I like to know before I label him a complete bust. But I do agree. He has struggled. At times, his buddy, punting Jesus has had some amazing punts. But he shanked some this year.
Yeah.
Dixon has had a couple of really bad punts. And that's not like him. And I don't know what's going on there. That concerns me a little bit. More shanking from him than I recognize. Fumbling has been awful as a team.
Yeah.
Has just been awful this year. More than the last 2 years combined already.
Yep.
But they're going to work on that, and they'll fix that. I know they will.
Well, not only fumbling, but just turnovers in general. I mean,
yes.
Like protecting the ball is up there
Yeah.
with the always compete as far as like the most important tenets of Pete's system. And it's very disappointing. The ball either keeps hitting the ground and we recover, or it finds its way into the arms of the opponent. That has been super frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would argue that both of Metcalf's fumbles, that won the Ravens game, it just sat on the line and just sat there
bizarre.
and begged for somebody to pick him up. And then the one where he gets up, I mean, those are two plays that are just like, the odds really aren't in favor of the other team getting that ball, but there it is.
The only other thing I can think of as well is just the level of arm tackling that's going on rather than leg tackling.
The missed tackles is infuriating.
That's got. I don't know why that. We made a video for crying out loud about how to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hawks tackle, it works.
And if you want one more person to put on our list, I think Taylor at Nickelback is a failed experiment. Listen, Ugo Amani could not be any worse. At least he's got speed to make up his mistakes.
I'm
I don't know
what's happening with that.
Picking on him constantly down the field, and I'm concerned about that going forward. But hopefully, he's made a couple nice plays. I shouldn't say he's been awful.
What about Nico? Is Nico injured? Did I miss that? Nico Thorpe?
He came in for Flowers when Flowers got hurt.
Yeah,
I'll say because he can play in the slot also.
He could, and I don't. I think their patience. I have a feeling. I don't know why I'm saying this. Like I know. But I have a feeling that their patience is wearing thin on Taylor, so I think we'll see a quick. If they start picking on him in Philadelphia, there'll be a quick hook there. I have a feeling, but
this is the bye week, so it might be the right time to get Ugo Amadi all the first team. First team plays with that and see what happens.
That's true. Will, did you say something, or Matt?
Yeah, it's the number 24 curse.
Yeah.
Salome Milani before him wore 24. He's gone. Yep. Now Taylor's wearing 24, and he's not doing well. You know,
it's the Sean Springs curse.
No, it's the Marshawn Lynch curse.
Yeah.
Skittles cures the 24 curse.
It's the Marshawn Lynch curse. Well, and this is about as negative as we want to get on the show because we always want to be positive. So let's go ahead and let's end the negativity here in the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up the fourth quarter, we're going to end this show on a positive note. We're going to talk about pleasant surprises so far during the Seahawks season. You are listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
If there's a better use for the internet, I haven't found it.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
That was actual serious football discussion. All right.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
That was kind of weird, man. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable.
Nobody even brought up whorehouses once. I mean, how are we supposed
I know
to
what the
hell.
I mentioned Mary Robinson.
You
this is true.
Mary. Mary, why you bugging?
Jesus.
Run DMC.
Yeah. And she was bugging.
It's rap.
She was bugging. Yeah, that's rap.
Mm-hmm.
That's old rap. That's old school.
Rock
you old
rap.
School? Yeah. What'd you call it?
Rock rap.
Rock rap, yeah.
Yeah. And have the kind of the rock thing in the background where they're rapping over it.
They were the kings of rock. That's what they were.
Yeah.
And they walked a certain way, too.
Sire.
They walked a certain way, too.
They do.
And they talked a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we talked a certain way.
All in their Adidas.
Yes, and we talk a certain way in the fourth and final quarter of this episode of this bi-week edition of our 12-Man Fan Jam Show. All the show, no calories. We talked about the disappointments last quarter, and that's just kind of a bummer. And we are the Seahawk Positivity Productions, so we want to end on a high note. Okay, we're done. No.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Show over. Good night, guys.
Let's talk about Seahawk surprises after 10
Kona's
games.
writhing in agony after that.
The good news, if you're still with us, somewhere a dog is crying, but we'll move on. Statsman Mark, give me a player that you're like, wow, I didn't expect this in a good way.
Oh man, I love that sense of humor because from here on out we could play the game of, let's say that DK has had an awesome season, and then we all say DK has had an awesome. No, anyway,
surely you can't be serious.
That is the obvious one. I'll go ahead and steal it since I got to get something correct on the show.
DK's had an awesome season, so I hear.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, I'm gonna work. I got to remind myself to tell my counselor about. Anyway, now DK, you know what? I think we've talked about him a little bit, like, given that he's like a bodybuilder on the side, and I wasn't sure what to think of this guy. He's been humble. He's been amazing.
Yeah.
He's had some weird turnovers, but whatever. I mean, overall, man, I mean, I thought where he is right now statistically, I thought these would be his season totals, right? And here he is playing great again. From week one, I think you mentioned it, Dennis. He shows up. His introduction to the home crowd, week one, was the Largent jersey.
Yeah, right.
And some may look at that like, oh, he's maybe trying to kiss up to the fans, but I still like that he did that, and it's those things, and also apparently just a good guy, and
just
a good guy off the field, or making a point of getting involved in the community. I couldn't be happier with him, and I know that's the most obvious one, but I had to go with it because I was definitely surprised. I thought, is he going to be like Peter Warwick, or is he going to be like Tyler Lockett?
Right.
I mean, I know it's a random name from the past.
No, Peter Warwick, that was awesome. 2005.
I mean, like the bling, he's
the
all
punt
bling
returner,
and no substance, but he's been wonderful.
Well, and that's a great pick. And if you can, and I challenge you to do this, I have not done this yet, but if you go back to episode 705 or 706 was our camping edition, that's the one, the post-draft, I should say, the post-draft edition, which I think 704 is the one where Will brought in the combine news about him having 1% body fat.
Right.
And we had a lot of fun making fun of DK Metcalf at that time. And now he's laughing because he's a great guy. So,
well, it's not only the things that Mark was saying, but like traditionally, a rookie wide receiver doesn't have that much of a role or that much of an impact on an NFL team.
Right.
It usually takes him some time to get into it. So I think his size and his mentality helps him solidify himself as a number 2 wide receiver in an NFL offense.
Yep.
That was a great pick for the Hawks.
Absolutely. Well said. Will, pleasant surprise.
I'm going to pick a guy that we've picked on a lot in the past, and he hasn't been perfect this year, but he's been better, and he's had a positive impact, I would say. That would be offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer.
Yes.
There's been a couple of weeks where I haven't liked the game plan too much, but on the other hand, there's been a couple of weeks where I think he's put together an absolutely perfect game plan. I will use the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game as an example because they came in best in the league against the run, almost worst in the league against the pass. One of our local radio personalities actually picked the Seahawks to lose that game because he figured we would try to run 3 times and punt.
Yeah.
But Schottenheimer actually called a really good game plan, a lot of play action, a lot of misdirection, and we shredded Tampa Bay's defense. I think he's coming into his own a bit more as opposed to last year. I think he's trying some different things, and I think it's working. And best of all, I think you've got to give him some of the credit for Russell Wilson the last couple of years, because as good as Wilson has always been, he has really taken his game to an elite level in the last couple of years.
Agreed.
And I think that is at least partially due to Schottenheimer. So kudos to you.
Wonderful pick.
I can't part of what that is, I think, is that last year, and by the way, I'm sure you guys heard it, Kona says hi.
Hi, Kona.
Yeah. I think part of what that is he was learning what he had and learning what they can do, and he said he became too enamored with people at times last year. I think this year he has a better understanding of what he can do, what he has, and he knows how to utilize his weapons. And the fact that when they have issues, like with headsets, they can just let Russell Wilson call plays and run with it.
Yep.
I just think that that relationship has developed into what makes the team offensively a hell of a lot better this year.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, what are your thoughts? Somebody positive we haven't talked about?
I'm going to go slightly further left field, I think. I'm going to go for Jody Allen. I think the transfer of ownership was so seamless, really.
Yeah.
And it was always a possibility that it could have gone really badly wrong. We could have had serious operational issues. We had a major contract that we needed to sign in April to keep a quarterback. which I understand that she was fully involved in. She signed off on with a no trade clause and all of that sort of stuff. So to her credit, I think, and obviously she flew Tyler Lockett back on her jet from his stay in the Bay Area too, which is a tradition which Paul Allen started himself. So I think for us, one of the things that's useful about the Seahawks is that stability of ownership. We don't have an owner like Jed York. We don't have an owner like Jerry Jones, God forbid, who's trying to own a stadium, trying to own a football team and manage a football team and be the operational person and the owner and we don't have any of that. We just have somebody in the background who's quite happy to be in the background and still provide the stability that a team needs to build a successful team, to bring all the right players in, to be able to make those crutch decisions and get us the very best we can have on the field.
Yeah. Well done. Well said.
Matt wins the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Zordy?
Oh, well, we already went through the, I already went over who I like the most. But I was going to say that, with Jerry, he wears a lot of 10-gallon hats. And also, I know we saw the story of the Amazon owner.
Bezos,
being interested. And my concern was that he would only have $108 billion left if he paid $3 billion for the team.
Poor guy.
Isn't that crazy? $111 billion.
Nice.
That is insane.
Yeah, Mark, but is he happy?
He certainly looks happy.
I would be.
Yeah. Well, it just
is Bezos happy?
He's certainly living a prime life, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he can buy it, but he can rent it. Dustin?
Yeah.
What about you for a surprise?
I don't know, man. I got two that are big surprises for me.
Go for it.
All right. So biggest surprise, or one of the surprises, was Quandre Diggs. I did not expect to have him on the team. That trade would surprise me a lot, and I love the fact that it happened because that dude looks like an impact player for us.
Yeah, I agree.
The other actual surprise is Hollister.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude was on the practice squad.
Yep.
And due to, injuries and whatnot on the tight end position, that guy has stepped in and made an impact, and he's a little touchdown machine for us now, which is awesome.
Well, and the phrase I've heard at practice is he busts his tail every day, which I just love.
He's going to start getting consistent targets, I think. He's my, funny for me to say it, but he is my fantasy alert for people who are unfamiliar with him.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. And I also like the fact that he's a twin like my kids and like the Griffins. His brother's also in the NFL. He's with Tennessee on their practice squad. So
I kind
of like everything about that dude.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
One other.
Go ahead.
Going to bring this up too. Other thing.
Sure.
Did you have one, Dennis?
No, go ahead. Go right ahead.
I would say the return of the coverage of Shaquill Griffin is a huge surprise.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That is awesome. I mean, last year was pretty disappointing. He was struggled a lot. He was too heavy. He lost some weight, came back, and he's bounced back and is playing some of his best football he's had in his NFL career. That guy's all over the place making plays.
And we haven't talked about Shaquem. Shaquem's getting snaps now, and he has not shown up on the charts. But here's the thing. I said last week, I think I said, hey, let's try something different. Throw Shaquem out there, see what happens. They did. They were getting a pass rush. Now, I'm not saying he's the reason. But I'm saying they put him out there instead of 94, and they were getting to quarterback, that they had to respect his speed coming around the corner, and other things opened up maybe for other people. I don't know, but Shaquem is making a little bit of an impact on the pass rush. At least he did against 49ers. That's
Keep
one
trying
game.
that.
But I say if it's not broke, don't fix it. And right now, after the 49ers, they better do the same damn thing on third down they did against the 49ers. And that would be putting Shaquem out there. And even if he's not getting to the quarterback, they have to recognize he is a pass rush specialist. In other words, they got to know where he's at.
Part of that was because of Ziggy Ansah and the issues that he's had.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ziggy came in underweight because he couldn't lift after his shoulder injury.
Right.
And that's a big part of what's going on now with the bye week, where he has to gain some weight back and hopefully
Hopefully that'll change. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing with these players when they retire or if they've been out for a while, just how much weight they lose.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking at the NFL Network post game on Thursday nights, and Joe Thomas is on there, and you look
he
at
doesn't
him,
look at all.
And you
I don't
think,
think
how
they're
could that
trying
guy
hard.
be an offensive lineman?
It's crazy.
I don't think they're trying hard enough because throughout the entire offseason, I do nothing but put on weight.
Yeah.
You and me
Gotta
both,
get on their
brother.
diet, man. You got Gronk looking like skinny, like he's a freaking
Skinny.
yeah. Well, I was trying. What was the term?
Dustin,
Joke's over. Sorry, I can't remember.
Just say
I
it,
was talking-
Dustin. Say it, sexy.
Use your
That's
words.
what you want to
air it
say.
out.
Detention
Stuff.
camp. Detention.
There
That's
it
what I
is.
was thinking.
Ooh.
I would have gone with Christian Bale and the Machinist personally, but you know.
Yeah, that works.
All right. Well, here's some other guys that I threw out there. I really like Ugo Amane, especially on special teams. He's been a beast. I think we got something special there. That kid's got pure speed, and he can cover it. You put him on one side, and you put Nico on the other side. We've got some amazing gunners on special teams, and just a matter of time before. And it's already improved the special teams as it is. Jamarco Jones coming in on the offensive line when we needed him to.
Oh yeah.
And just doing a great job. Playing anywhere on the line. Huge for us. Malik Turner has come in and made some interesting catches at interesting times. He has not been a liability out in the field. And for that in itself, I think that's amazing. And last but certainly not least, someone who I think has been a more of a pleasant surprise than a major disappointment. Ifedi has played a lot better this year.
What?
I'm saying
just don't hand him off the ball.
Right. And I think the stat is he was awful the first half of the year, the first 4 games, but since then he has really solidified the corner.
Can we just point out the fact that in the game thread, the best comment by far was, if it had just sat his fat ass down, that wouldn't have happened.
That was awesome. I think it was Will.
Say that again. I missed.
Yeah, that was me.
Will, go ahead and tell him what you put during the fumble.
Oh, after the fumble, I just, I was raging in my house too, and I just posted on the game thread. It's like, if he had just sat his fat ass down when he recovered the ball, we would have been fine.
Right. Somebody a couple days on Twitter later said, now that we can laugh about it, let's be honest. Every fat man in America knows you want to score with that ball.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I got one more. I just thought of one.
Yeah, please.
I'm also very pleasantly surprised that we have somebody called Malik Turner on the team, because I didn't know that.
Oh, what's Turner's first name?
Malik.
Malik.
Hey, we've gotten more out of Malik Turner than we gotten out of Jerron Brown this year.
Yeah. I think
That's
so too.
true. That's true.
But it was really one of those things where, and they were saying it on either one of the first takes or whatever it was, and like, who the hell is Malik Turner? And I have to say, it was one of those moments where I did the same thing, like, who the hell is that again? Who is that?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
he's really
he was the guy
contributed
that
though.
was
I mean, he's come in
from a few years ago, right?
He's contributed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't he the dude that they signed because of his 40 or whatever? He was a track dude, right? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, but he's got great hands. I'm
sure.
Listen, I'm happy he's on the team, and I'm happy they took him over Jerron Brown, believe it or not, which is weird.
Yeah, he had a nice that spin move he had, that catch and spin, that Turner.
And
it's like
it was a nice move.
He should wear like one white glove. It was like an MJ move. It was Michael
nice.
Jackson.
Matt, what you got?
Further pleasant surprise. How many injuries has ProSize had this year?
Oh, none. But he was not. Now he didn't dress last game, so we couldn't ride the train last game. But yeah, CJ not being hurt is something big too, I guess. So we can put that out there. A lot of positives going forward. That's a great way to end the show. A lot of positives. And unfortunately, it is time to bring another 12-man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We're glad you decided to waste some time with us for this bye week. We certainly hope you laughed a little. Maybe you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn on the show? My goodness. We learned what team doesn't like a moved practice site. We also learned who ripped the face mask off Joe Montana. Spit on Superman's cape. I don't know. Don't spit in the wind.
Learned a lot about whorehouses.
Don't rip the face mask off Joe Montana, and you don't mess around with, I don't know, Jim.
I almost thought you were going to say he had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah,
Joe Montana had a farm. We learned that Matt doesn't want to go down on it. Little Mo had hands to his face or face to his hands. We couldn't decide. We learned that I spoiled Dustin. We asked, is Bezo really happy? Dustin thinks Gronk is sexy. And finally, screw you, Baker Mayfield. So, on behalf...
I second the screw Baker Mayfield thing. Hate that dude.
Okay. Yeah, if you call Gronk sexy, that's figures. On behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, I don't know. Our Newshound Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Beaver, Mike Pascal, Roger Goodell, Mark Ty Turner, Jose, Tom, Mozette Little Mo, Jadavian Clowney, Jason Myers, Justin Timberlake, the boys from NSYNC. This is Moses saying until next time, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Take us out, Sync. It's a bye week, baby. Enjoy the bye week. Enjoy celebrating that win for one more week before we get back at it.
Might sound crazy, but